Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today TV. I am Sakshi Batra. Well, the Twitter takeover has finally happened after a lot of twists and turns. The deal is sealed for $44 billion, and Elon Musk now joins a slew of billionaires who now own a social media content platform. Now, to understand what this really means for the future of Twitter and its users, joining in with me is a very special guest. Will Oremus joins in. He writes about technology for the Washington Post. Will, thank you so much for taking the time out. Appreciate you joining in.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Okay, Bill, I want to begin by understanding from you, since you've been covering this Twitter saga for a whole lot of time. Is this a good deal for the future of Twitter and all its stakeholders, including the users?
Nobody knows whether this is a good deal for Twitter in the long term. It's very hard to know what Elon Musk has in mind. He communicates mostly via tweets. And so we have to try to read between the lines of his tweets to see what he has in mind for Twitter as a company. And I think he hasn't figured out exactly what he's going to do yet, even.
Okay, but what does free speech really mean for Elon Musk? He's been talking a whole lot about it on his Twitter as well. What will he really be doing immediately now after the takeover?
Well, Elon Musk has been frustrated with Twitter's policies, which have resulted in suspending some accounts from the platform that Elon Musk likes. There was a parody account called the Babylon Bee that he really enjoyed. He thought it was very funny. It was politically toward the right, and it was at one point suspended from Twitter. He was upset about that. We know that when Donald Trump, the US president, was suspended from Twitter, Musk felt that that was too heavy-handed and that that would cause a backlash. So Musk's vision of free speech vis-a-vis Twitter seems to involve less banning, less heavy-handed content moderation. Now, that is going to get complicated because he also has said that he wants to remove a lot of the spam and the scams and the cryptocurrency bots from the platform. That involves moderation. That requires human moderation as well as AI. And then there are also a lot of people who believe that allowing free speech for everyone on the platform requires actually enforcing some rules, because when people are harassed or intimidated or ganged up on Twitter, they don't feel free to speak. And so there are going to be competing visions of free speech that he has to sort out that might be a little more complex than the somewhat simplistic vision that he has coming in.
Absolutely. Very, very important points that you're making right there. I do have a follow-up question on that as well. First, does this really mark the return of Donald Trump on Twitter?
We don't know yet. We do know that Musk had a little bit of criticism when Twitter removed Donald Trump. His criticism was actually not necessarily that Trump should be on the platform, but that people would be uncomfortable with a small number of technology elites in Silicon Valley making these sorts of political decisions for the entire world as to whether Donald Trump can speak online. Now, of course, Donald Trump has many other ways to get his words out. He started his own social network called Truth Social. He says that he is going to stay there, even if he's allowed back on Twitter. But, he could always change his mind. I think that there is a decent chance now that Musk owns Twitter outright that he may allow Trump back. But I think he might want to wait and see. He might want to spend some time listening to the employees as to why people like Trump were banned in the first place before making those sorts of decisions. On the other hand, we know that Elon Musk is impetuous. He acts quickly. He likes to move boldly. Yeah. He's not necessarily one to wait and listen and move slowly. So it's really hard to say.
Absolutely. Another point that you made, I wanted you to elaborate a little on that. What does his statement really mean when he says, I want to authenticate all humans and stop the spam bots? What does it really mean? And is it even possible to do that?
Yeah, again, it's a little hard to tell because we're limited to 280 characters at a time from Elon Musk's tweets to figure out what he wants to do. But I think what he's getting at there is he has this idea. There are people who are verified on Twitter who have a little blue check mark next to their name. So far, it's mostly celebrities, politicians, media figures. There's a lot of resentment from other people on the platform that they don't have those blue check marks. It's like the people with the blue checks are getting special treatment. I think Elon Musk has in mind that anyone who is willing to verify their identity, perhaps a copy of their government issued identification or something like that, could then get a blue verification check mark. Now, there is an issue if he's talking about taking away anonymity. I mean, anonymity has been core to what Twitter is. It is what allows activists to speak to the world on Twitter without being prosecuted by their own governments. So again, there are complexities there that I don't know that he's quite reckoned with entirely yet.
Absolutely. Another question that I had was, of course, he's a big tech innovator, but there are some concerns about what this takeover of Twitter really means in a wider context. And will Musk use Twitter and its platform power to now drive agendas for perhaps countries around the world?
Musk has said that he is committed to free speech on Twitter. So he said that his critics should remain on Twitter. Presumably, he will maintain Twitter as a place for political dissidents to speak up. It is even possible, theoretically, that a Twitter under Elon Musk could be more immune than the previous version of Twitter to requests from governments to take down their political opponents, for instance, or to not fact check tweets from their own side. So, because the company is now owned by one person, it's
Yeah.
not responsible to shareholders. If it were to get kicked out of a country, he could withstand that. He has all the money in the world for practical purposes.
Yes.
But again, we don't know exactly what his policies will be. And it will actually be harder to tell what Twitter's policies are now that it's privately owned. They won't be
Mm.
making quarterly reports to their shareholders and to the public about those
Yes.
sorts of things. We don't know if they'll keep doing their transparency reports where they report the number of government takedown requests they've gotten and the number they've complied with in each country each year.
Got that. What about the fate of the current, management, Parag Agarwal and other top management executives? Do you really expect a purge, or will they really get to stay?
Again, it's so hard to know what Elon Musk is going to do. I think that Parag Agrawal will likely be given a chance. I mean, certainly for the next few months, as this deal closes and as all the details get sorted out, Elon Musk will not be in control yet. So it will be business as usual, more or less, at Twitter. With the caveat that Musk is a prolific tweeter himself. So if he starts tweeting changes he'd like to see, even before he's the owner, the company may feel pressure to respond to those because he will be the new boss coming in. Agrawal had just taken over, obviously, from Jack Dorsey toward the end of last year. He was supposed to be leading the transition. I'm sure he cannot be feeling particularly secure in his job right now, but I expect he'll be given a chance. I expect that Musk will give him a chance. He'll see if they see eye to eye and can work together. If they cannot work together, we know from Musk's track record at his other companies that he will not hesitate to fire Agrawal and replace him with somebody that he feels more comfortable with.
Understood. I also wanted to seek your opinion on the current scenario that we are facing, the Russia-Ukraine crisis. Would Twitter's approach to Ukraine war have been different if Twitter was already under Musk and when Russians really invaded Ukraine?
Twitter's has not changed its approach a whole lot in terms of Russia and Ukraine. And by that, I mean, it has not complied with the Russian government's demands to censor content that is against the war. As a result, Twitter has been blocked inside Russia. So it's very hard to use in Russia unless you have a VPN now. Twitter's policies, like those of several other Silicon Valley companies, have been, you could loosely describe them as pro-Ukraine to the extent that they've existed. We also know that Elon Musk seems to support the Ukrainian side in that conflict based on some of his tweets and actions. I mean, he has been providing his Starlink internet service, the satellite internet service, to the Ukrainians to try to help them stay online in the face of cyber attacks from Russia. So I don't know that there would be major differences in policy. Now, one of the things that Musk has said in terms of free speech is that he believes that people should be able to say anything on Twitter that is legal. Now, that gets very complicated when different countries have different laws about what you can say. So, for instance, in Russia right now, to criticize the war effort or even to call it a war is a criminal penalty that you can be punishable by up to 15 years in prison. So, would he follow that law if he were in charge of Twitter? One would think probably not, but he really hasn't made that clear yet.
Okay. One question I had from the Indian context for you, and that is that last year, Twitter really lost its status of being social intermediary in India as it failed to comply with the new IT rules. Under the new owner, would Twitter approach the matter quite differently? How do you really see that happening?
That's one of the big questions we'll be watching as this plays out over time. I think, Musk has some ideas about how he'd like to see Twitter operate differently in the United States. I don't know that he has thought deeply about how it operates in countries around the world, including India, which is a huge market for Twitter or any internet company. And so, again, there's the possibility that under Musk, the company might take an even tougher line in India and risk being booted out of the country, as TikTok was. Or it's possible that under Musk, it will comply with local laws more readily, and then it wouldn't be under such pressure from the government. We'll just have to see. It's really something that he hasn't laid out, and that's one of the concerns of people at the company. Clearly Elon Musk is a smart man. He's an innovative man. He has run some extremely successful companies. At the same time, he has not so far displayed a nuanced grasp of all the difficult policy decisions a company like Twitter has to make in the many markets in which it operates around the world. And so there's really a hope among employees that he'll take some time to listen and understand before making some of these big decisions.
Okay, understood that. One last question for you, and before I let you go, it's all about your take on it. With Elon Musk now taking over Twitter, which of these actions will be his top priorities? You choose one out of these: removal of bots, the bringing of edit button, controlling of the hate speech, or subscription model.
I think he's an all of the above person. He's going to pursue all of these things at once. The edit button, by the way, is already in progress. So I think that's going to happen, Musk or not. So maybe that will be the first one that we actually see. But I do think he will pursue all of them. He's never been a person to take things one at a time.
Okay, understood that. On that note, thank you so much, Will, for speaking with us and sharing all these insights into the Twitter saga. Thanks a lot. It's been a pleasure having you with us on Business Today TV.
Thank you.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.